Welcome back. Now, the Bunahafo Regional Chairman of the Ghana Bar Association, Alfred Tia Yeboah, has filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the approval of the 10% increment in emoluments for outgoing government appointees and other Article 71 office holders, members of the executive, legislature, judiciary, and all others who are appointed based on Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution are giving lump sums as end-of-service benefits when their terms of office expire. The Presidential Committee on Emoluments, led by Professor Dora Edu Buando, in a report released last week, recommended a 10% increment starting from 2013, which was unanimously approved by Parliament. This led to calls for the scrapping of the law mandating such payments, as many deemed it detrimental to the finances of the state. Tia Yeboah, by this suit, has moved from just criticizing the payment and is seeking to stop it. Also, he is seeking an interpretation of Article 71 on the payments of retirement benefits of members of Parliament every 4 years. According to him, the MPs should only be paid retirement benefits if he or she goes out of Parliament, and not every 4 years as is being done. He says if you are an MP and you take your ex gratia, it means that you are now out of Parliament. That's the essence of their retirement, he said. Right, Lawyer Tia is joining us on Skype now. Good evening, sir, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening.
Now, I want to know whether your concern is just about the 10% increment, or you are actually against the whole ex gratia, you know, in its entirety.
All right, thank you very much. My concern is not about the 10% increment, no. My concern is about how that article is being abused, specifically how some people are making money out of Article 71, which to my mind ought not to be the case. Because if you were to read Article 71, if you look at Article 71(3), you see the words there, retiring benefits or awards. So the question is, what do we mean by retiring benefits? What do you mean by retirement? What does the ordinary person understand by the word retirement? So if an MP loses his seat, does it mean that he has retired from Parliament? What about certain MPs who are still in Parliament and haven't lost their seats? Can you say that because the term of Parliament has come to an end, they've retired? I think these are some of the areas that I have concerns with. That so far as a certain MP has retained his seat in Parliament,
he's not retired.
He has not retired from Parliament.
Right, Mr. Tia,
so in that case, he cannot be entitled to any retirement award or benefits.
Right, Mr. Tia, we'll have you hold briefly there on Skype, and we'll get onto the telephone lines where we have Honorable George Lowe, who is a member of the Constitutional and Legal Committee, Affairs Committee of Parliament. He actually lost his seat and is qualified for ex gratia. Mr. Lowe, good evening, and we're grateful you could join us. So, Lawyer Tia is seeking an interpretation from the Supreme Court on Article 71 and the reliefs he is seeking. One of it is to get a clear interpretation of what it means to be retiring, that this ex gratia actually should be taken at the point an MP is exiting, not necessarily when their term, the 4-year term, is ended. What's your reaction to this?
Oh, well, good evening, and good evening to our cherished viewers. I think that first and foremost, it's within towards constitutional rights to go for interpretation in the Supreme Court. So far as that is concerned, I don't have a problem. I think that it's completely within its constitutional right.
For example, to the point that he's arguing that there being persistent abuse of this provision in the Constitution by politicians, members of parliament who are exiting. I know you are not going for this seventh parliament and is qualified to take ex gratia. Do you feel by any means that at the point you are taking it, it is abused?
Well, I don't know why anybody would think that it's abused. Every parliamentary term is for 4 years. To be re-elected is a different matter altogether. And that is why we number the parliaments that we have. So you will see that the first parliament, the second parliament, the third parliament, the fourth parliament, the fifth parliament, the sixth parliament, which will be dissolved hopefully on the 6th. And then the seventh parliament will commence. Each parliamentary term is distinct and separate from another one. So for anybody to it is for that reason that bills and all other things on the floor are started afresh, and that you don't bill to another. So, for instance, we are doing the Right to Information Bill. The unlikely event that we do not finish this term of Parliament, the next Parliament cannot say that we reached here and therefore we are carrying it over. You will have to start all over again. So every Parliament is this, and it's 4 years. It's a 4-year term, and that is it. I mean, nobody can, by any stretch of imagination, say that there's some continuity in Parliament. It's not true.
Right, Mr. Lowe, we'll still have you hold, and we bring Mr. Lawyer Etia Yeboah into the conversation on this. Mr. Chia, you heard Mr. George Lowe. Obviously, he's a member of Parliament who is exiting. There have been questions of whether your lawsuit holds merit, especially that this ex gratia, this is not the first time it's being paid.
All right, thank you very much. Let me put it on record that as we speak now, the suit has not been filed before the Supreme Court. And that, I just want to make that correction. But plans are underway. In view of that, I can still talk about the issues that the Honorable MP has raised. It is true that every parliament has a lifespan of 4 years. I don't dispute that one. And that things that are not completed within a parliamentary period or a period of parliament cannot be continued in the next parliament. You have to start afresh, as he really stated. But let's look at it. Let's look at Article 71. Let's look at the words used in Article 71. Let's look at the officers or the people who are to benefit under Article 71. You look at the judges. They retire at their specific ages, whether it's 65 or 70 years. You look at the chairman of the various boards or the other, like the Electoral Commission and the rest. They are all beneficiaries of Article 71. Is it reasonable for someone to say that you go to Parliament for 4 years and you retire and you come back for 4 years, you take monies? Then someone is an Electoral Commissioner. He or she goes to the office, can be in the office for the next 20 years. Then he or she retires once. What about the judges? They retire once. Why is it the case that MPs should retire more than 5, 6, 7, or even 20 or 40 times? To my mind, that article is being abused, and those payments, I say without any reservation, are unconscionable.
Right.
I don't think that there's spirit behind Article
So, Mr.
71.
Chia, by your concern, do you expect that MPs who receive payment, do you, by your concern, I mean that you don't expect that MPs who receive payments should return to Parliament?
That is my view. MPs who have lost their seats are entitled to ex gratia because they've lost their seats and they have to be compensated for the period that they spent in Parliament. Those who have retained their seats have no business taking ex gratia because they've not retired.
So, Mr. Chia, may I find out from you when really you're going to file this suit? Because if you have not filed, then there will be no point, belaboring the issues that you've raised. Because if you have not filed, then there will be nothing to talk about. You don't think so?
Oh yes, as I stated, I think this issue came up today, and I need to correct it. That it's not yet before the courts. Okay. But we can still be debating it. We can still discuss it.
So when are you going to court with this?
Because I'll just keep it to myself, but I think within the shortest possible time, certainly I'll hit the courts.
Right, Mr. Lawrence, we'll leave it there, and we're grateful that you made time to join us. Mr. Alfred Etua Yeboah is the president of the Bunahafo Regional President of the Ghana Bar Association.